This is a test of the City of Palakka audio system.
Tammy, ready? You ready? Y'all ready? Don? Good evening. We'd like to welcome everyone to the City of Palakka, April 28th, 2022 Commission meeting. At this time, we're going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. We're going to have our Pledge of Allegiance and Invocation by Chaplain Alonzo Mulberry. Will everyone please stand at this time? Commissioner Jones, can you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you once again for this day. We thank you for your love, for your kindness, and certainly for the multitude of your tender mercy. God, here we are again in your presence. We stand as a needed people. We pray, God, that you would crown our heads with wisdom. Give us, Lord, what to do, how to do, and what to say, when to say. We pray for your directions on tonight, God. We come to do the business of the city. We pray, God, that there'll be some hard decisions made at times and certainly some disappointments. We pray, God, that you will give us a favorable mind, God, to understand what needs to be done. We praise you even now. We pray, God, for unity. We pray for the spirit of peace that rests in the bond of the spirit. We praise you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain.
God bless you.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tammy McCaskill.
Here.
Commissioner Will Jones. Commissioner Justin Campbell.
Present.
Commissioner Rufus Borum.
Present.
Mayor Terrell Hill.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
All members are accounted for the record. Thank you. Next up is approval of minutes from the April 7th special call meeting as well. I'll take all of these cumulatively. Items A, B, and C. The April 7th special call meeting, the joint city commission meeting on April and county commission meeting on April 7th as well, and the city commission meeting on April 14th.
Motion to approve the minutes as they are printed, A through C.
This is a motion to approve item 2A through C. There's a second by Commissioner Jones. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Moving on to public recognitions and presentations. This is our April 2022. The school year is almost over. Wow. Student of the Month presentation. Up with me this month, I get the luxury of picking. So Commissioner McCaskill, you're with me for Student of the Month. Give us some words before we get started.
Just want to encourage all the students to keep up the good and hard work that you're doing. We are proud, super proud of you all, and just congratulations. You were chosen among many.
Thank you very much. So now we'll get ready for our Student of the Month. And I know sometimes we'll end up with students who come in person. And so we want to make sure we recognize you if you're here and you're present today. This is our virtual Student of the Month for the month of April 2022. Our students are as follows. From Browning Pierce Elementary School, Chloe Vincent. From Children's Reading Center Charter School, Leanna Longi. From Hillcrest Academy, Gavin Timberlake. From James A. Long Elementary, Summer Sullivan. From Kelly Smith Elementary, Tanner Millison. From From Mellon Learning Center Pre-K, Ella Rogers. From Pre-K at Mellon Learning Center, Kaden Jenkins. And from William D. Mosley Elementary, Malavet and Dino De Leon. I didn't think I'd get that, did you, Commissioner? Palatka Junior Senior High School, it still sounds funny. Brandon Lewis. From Penn Isle Baptist Academy, Caitlin Hutchins. From Putnam Academy of Arts and Sciences, Kalia Carruthers. Did I say it right? Kyla, come up, Kyla. I see you're here. I messed your name up. Come on, Kyla, you gotta come up so they can see you. This is what happens when I butcher your name.
Thought he had it right.
I listen, I thought I was doing good. Let's give her another round. From Putnam Edge High School, Jalen Johnson. And before we conclude our Student of the Month, we want to make sure that we also say thank you to the educators who are assembled in Zoom land all around who are watching the presentation. Oftentimes, they never get enough thank yous for the sacrifices that they make for our children. We just want to take this time out to thank all of our educators. And if we have any in the audience, will you please stand at this time? Let's give a round of applause to our educators. Also, let's give a round of applause to our family and extended friends and neighbors who all have worked very hard to raise these children and to be positive influences in their lives, because it truly takes a village to raise a child. So all parents who are present in the audience, as well as those who are assembled around the room at this time, take a bow, and we want to say thank you. To stand for us so that we can say thank you for the work that you've done with your children. And so, as I always say when we do our Student of the Month program, something that I learned back in the 3rd grade with Miss Thomasina Green, we started every day out by simply saying, I am somebody. If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, I know I can achieve it because I am somebody. You're somebody special, somebody great. You're destined for greatness, and don't ever take that for granted. And we are so proud of all of our students and the work that you've done. And so continue to be the leaders that you are. And we look forward to you being the leaders of tomorrow and sitting in the seats that we're in and leading this community to the next level. So again, thank you very much to all of our students, and we are so proud. And I want to make sure that while I've got the students in here, class of 1976, so y'all just stand for me for one quick second. Central Academy class of 1976. These classmates are always around. They're giving back to the community. And so we just want to make sure that we continually thank them, because we look forward to our students doing exactly what the class of 1976 is doing and will continue to do. And that's always loving Palakka and giving back to the community. So again, let's give them a round of applause. Next recognition of graduates of the Leadership Academy inaugural class. Mr. Holmes, I'll turn it over to you at this time.
Commissioners, as all of you are aware, a few months ago, we undertook to engage in a leadership academy, which was the first that has ever been held at the city of Palatka. And through suggestion of actually Ms. Shanks, who has some knowledge of the instructor that we ultimately chose and his reputation, we ended up selecting and engaging Dr. Joseph Saviak to come in and lead our class. When Ms. Shank first mentioned his name to me, I was not familiar with him. And, you know, over time, you get a lot of suggestions of a lot of people who are, you're advised are stars in their profession, and you tend to adopt a certain level of skepticism about that. The older you get and the more you do these sorts of things. But when I looked online and started reading something about Dr. Saviak, I was pleasantly surprised at how impressive his credentials were. And so we engaged with him. We spoke with him on the phone once or twice, and then engaged with him to come over and speak with us. And little did I know it would be an experience that would turn out to be far more beneficial, far more impressive, and I think far more constructive for the city of Palakka than I had ever envisioned when we began the process. I think that everyone who attended the class and participated in the class took something out of the class. I did personally. I think, and everyone that I spoke with in the class indicated they did as well. Real tools that you can apply in your job, in your life, just in general. And the classes were always engaging. You've all had instructors in classes, and sometimes they went through the motions and you got a little bit out of the class and you just checked off the box and you got your thing done. Well, that was not the case with Dr. Saviak's classes. People who I never expected to see engaging in the class at the level they did from our employees engaged in the class. And it was really rewarding to watch our employees basically adopt what was being presented, and you could see the lights come on so many times. So without any further introduction, I'd like to introduce Dr. Saviak. Let him make a few comments, and then we'd like to recognize the students from the class who actually participated and graduated. Okay, Dr. Saviak.
Thank you very much, Mr. Holmes. I want to first commend the mayor and the city commission and Mr. Holmes for focusing on what should be a really important priority for every organization in America. And that is making sure the current leaders are performing at their best and growing our future leaders to ensure that excellence is always our single standard. The program involves several different assignments. It is rigorous and intensive. We have lots of class discussions about real world challenges and how to apply best practices and tools that will produce success in dealing with them. They sharpen a number of the key skills that effective leaders need to utilize every day, research, presentation, problem solving, analysis, teamwork. And they also deepen their knowledge of key subjects: human resources, budgeting, policy, successful communications. Once again, all designed to ensure that they are providing the highest level of service to your community. And ultimately, the beneficiaries of a program like this are your citizens. And they will be continually served by individuals who are able to utilize best practices, who are the best leaders that your citizens deserve, and who are doing everything they can every day to ensure that the government that serves this community is being provided to them in the most effective and efficient and equitable manner possible. And it was a joy, an honor, and a source of pride to teach this class. You have individuals who are highly motivated, they're dedicated, they're hardworking, they're proactive problem solvers, they're innovative, and they have a genuine love for this community. And I'm always available to them anytime they need to call or contact me for any support, ideas, assistance. But once again, I really credit the city for your leadership and your commitment to ensuring that your city government has leaders who are providing the type of leadership that you want for your city so that citizens get the very best in everything that they interact with city government on and that they receive through city services and city programs. And so thank you for this opportunity. I'm grateful for it, really enjoyed it, very proud of this class. The future is very bright for the city of Palatka.
Just before Dr. Sabiak comes forward with the presentations, there's a quick video, Doc, just before we get started. And that is not Toby Williams at the beginning of this video.
Hi, I'm here with Chief Shaw. Chief Shaw, please tell us what the Leadership Academy means to you.
The Leadership Academy put on by the city of Palakka was very informational. It provided me with a look inside to see what I've learned over my time in administration and the experiences I received through other leadership training classes. You would think that some of this stuff is just repetitive, but it wasn't. We were able to look inside, find out what we were doing right, where we could get better. We were able to take tools from the academy and put them in our tool belts, and it made us better leaders and take back to our own departments to continue to make not only the department better, but the city of Palakka better. I really enjoyed it, got a lot from it, and I'm glad I was able to participate in it.
The Leadership Academy has allowed me to learn more about myself and my colleagues. It has allowed me to learn best practices to enable and grow the ideal leader, and it also has allowed me to become familiar with leadership resources. The opportunities are endless.
The City of Palakka Leadership Academy means having the opportunity to grow. City leadership identified you as someone who can influence others. The leadership trainer will help you hone your ability of influence. Together, we are the future of our community, and I hope that fellow staff members will attend this great academy.
I'm Eli Higginbotham. I work for the City of Palatka Public Works. It was an honor to be chosen for the leadership training. When I started this training, I knew very little about being a good leader. Now, I have the tools to become a great leader.
3.
Leadership Academy is creating a culture in our organization to train and prepare our supervisors to be successful. This class made me reflect not only on myself, but also my peers and my supervisors too. Successful leaders have self-awareness, which means that you not only reflect on yourself, but everybody around you. Over the 12 weeks, we learned about various things like active listening, how to cultivate great communication skills, collaboration, emotional intelligence, and showing empathy to your employees, and also encouraging innovation. My favorite was doing the presentations with the 21 laws and seeing what everyone learned and the different interactions we had. Each law had a takeaway, and it was amazing to watch all of us learn and grow at the same time. Now the only thing left to do is go out and do great things, and as Dr. Saviak would say, bravo, we did it.
Hi, I'm here with Justin Bridges. Justin Bridges, what does the Leadership Academy mean to you?
Leadership Academy to me meant being able to grow within the community, also within the city, and helping improve the future with our city to bring younger people in as older ones move out. And I think that's it.
Speaking on the Leadership Academy, I'd like to say I have two main takeaways. Number one was acknowledgement of the things I'm doing correctly as a supervisor. Secondly is a reminder of some of the things I could be doing better as a supervisor. I appreciate the city and Dr. Sabiak for conducting this course. It was well worth the time, and I appreciate y'all.
A little snippet of what the Leadership Academy meant to me. The Leadership Academy meant to me, I learned a lot of things I need to work on, and it gave me a lot of insight on what you need to do to be an effective leader. I think it's a very wonderful program that the city is offering to the staff, and I hope they continue to do it. The instructor was very corrections and gave me opportunity to express my concerns and opinions about life itself, and also just give me some education on how to move forward as a leader. So me saying this, I support this program, and y'all continue.
Sing. He was sinking. Dr. Saviat, floor is all yours.
Okay. Mayor Hill, if you please join me up front with your home. That was the envelope, which is recognizing your hard work, your success, your dedication, and your leadership. And this was not easy because you all have full-time jobs, you have families, you have community responsibilities. But all of you gave a lot to this, and invested on it, and that's the optimism from everything that we can see and that we'll see for years to come in the city. So I'm going to call each of your names, and then the mayor and Mr. Holmes will be presenting you with your diploma, and you will officially graduate the City of Palakka 2022 Leadership Academy. The first one is Mr. Don Holmes. By the way, that's not a good message to have the city manager in the Leadership Academy. Mr. Walsh. Mr. Eddie Cutright. Chief Jason Shaw. Captain Toby Williams. We were finally kind of able to get him out of his shell by having him speak in this program. Kind of an introverted, quiet individual.
Who?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah. I felt like we made a lot of progress.
He just fooled you.
He was just learning. He was just trying to listen and learn.
He gave it. Christopher Taylor. I love that you all did the shirts. Miss Sunny Krantz. Director Lauren Chang. Adapt, overcome. Congratulations. Brett Dennis. Miss Ann Atkins. Keith Dunham. Jackie Pappas. We're gonna get one. Justin Bridges. Director Virginia Jones. Kim Wiley. Brian McCann. Matt Moores. Eli Higginbotham. And closing out, Director Jonathan Griffin. I think we could get a group shot with all the graduates and Mayor.
That's
Everybody on.
No, he don't. He gonna block us.
cheese.
Cut my head off now.
Cheese.
Okay, super. Thank you. Once again, congratulations. We are especially proud of you and very much looking forward to seeing all your continued success in the future.
I got one question. Did they attend when everybody attended the class? No misses?
Once when there was a significant conflict. Yeah, they might have fun, yeah, but no, they had a really good class attendance and loved doing it in the venue that we were in.
Yes, sir.
You know?
So we've got one more presentation, Doc. Doc, we got one more presentation. So if you could just stand right there for us. You've kind of heard a little bit from the city manager, but Dr. Saviak is by far an asset for us as it relates to the Leadership Academy. And we also had an opportunity to walk into many presentations with the Florida League of Cities and just watch how powerful of a presenter and an educator he is for the league as a whole and throughout the state of Florida and this country. And so it was definitely a privilege for Palatka to have such a powerhouse lead our leaders. And so we are just absolutely delightful, and we're looking forward to the Leadership Academy becoming an annual portion of what takes place in the city of Palatka. And we have a special presentation which says, presented to Dr. Joseph Sabiak in appreciation of your instruction of the inaugural City of Palatka Leadership Academy, presented this 28th day of April 2022 by the Palatka City Commission. And we wanted to make sure that we also presented you with a city pin as well.
We'll get right here again. No. So we'll.
Don't forget your shirt. And before we move into our next recognition, I want to bring up the class of 1976. If you would come forward at this time for some special comments. Of course. 76 strong, right?
I'm not a speaker, but I have been designated by our class group and the, to Mayor Hill and the city commissioners. We would like, I'm here to thank you and give you a little bit about the 76 strong. It's not all the class of 76, but it's a group of classmates that have come together to give back to our community on the north side, Putnam, anywhere that we can be of help. We are giving scholarships on December, no, it was November. We did a coat drive, and we are here to thank the city of Palatka for being so diligent about supporting the class of 76 in all that we do. We are over what the two events that we had, the Farm Fresh and the coat drive was held at the old Jenkins Middle School
Gymnasium.
Gymnasium, thank you. Gymnasium. And it was just an awesome success. And we served over 250 cars, 550 families. So we would just like to thank so much the city, Mr. Cutright. I forgot his name, because I'm not a speaker. You see, I'm trimming in his voice.
You're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good though.
Mr. Cutright and Courtney James. Awesome person. Anything that we needed, Courtney was there for us. It was such a positive and awesome experience with Courtney as he helped us set up tables, got anything that we need. Even he had to leave, we had to call him back within minutes. Courtney was there to give us what we needed. This Farm Fresh event was even telecast on the news, and it was such an awesome turnout. And we would just like to thank the city of Palakka, Mayor Hill, and the commissioners for all the support that they give the class of 76. And truly, we'll still be in the community doing great things, and we would still like your support. Thank you, Mr. Courtwright, and Reno Fails.
Thank you.
We thank y'all.
And just for clarification, the class of 76 doesn't just do a coat drive. They give hundreds of coats to children in Palatka, and then they give hundreds more to kids in East Palatka. They do more than a coat drive. They have a real event that serves many, many people in this community. And we just appreciate you guys so much for the work that you do. And again, just thank you for being a shining example of what Palatkans are. So again, thank you. Next up is a recognition, somebody we're very familiar with, for completion of his FLC University Leadership Academy.
I'm sorry.
The person is always giving direction. Man of great detail. FLC University Leadership Academy 1, Certificate of Completion, March 11th through 12th, 2022, Kissimmee, Florida, presented to Rufus J. Borum, Commissioner, City of Palatka. Job well done, Commissioner. Continue to ascend to the highest ranks, and we are so proud of you. Thank you, sir. Certainly appreciate it.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank the city of Palatka for this honor, and also the FLC City, Florida League of Cities for this honor. Again, I'm always trying to improve myself, whether it's personally, professionally, or politically. When you stop learning, you start dying. So life is education is a lifelong experience, and I'm going to continue to do what I can to continue to help move my city forward and help continue to improve myself personally. So thank you guys for all of your support. I know Commissioner McCaskill has already completed this training as well. So, but again, we like to make sure that we I guess attend these particular trainings, because it really help you in so many different ways that open up. It gives you different dimensions of yourself and others. And so people that you work with on a daily basis or periodically, it will help you understand how you guys, your chemistry work together or not. And there's several different things, that categories that they use in terms of learning who you are. As when they built the profile, they did a pre-survey prior to the class. And basically what that built your profile prior to getting to the class. And once you got into class, you were able to sit with people who were like you per category. And they had a couple of categories. They had expressed and wanted. That was two different factors. Then they had inclusion, control, and affection. So you either had express inclusion, express control, express affection, wanted inclusion, wanted control, or wanted affection. But again, these are the different things that they kind of I guess, build your profile on, and you have high, medium, low categories. So, but again, I would like for everybody to at least try and participate in that. And it was a final B evaluation. So thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to share that.
Thank you. And also thank you, Commissioner McCaskill, as well. Next up is Employee of the Month Award and the spotlight. Jones.
Okay, so this month, and we have, since we started this, it has really proven to be very positive with our employees. This month, we had 4 nominees, and our chosen nominee was David Green.
Ready to speak tonight? Mr. Green, we started this together back in 2020, December 2020. We was myself, Dave, and Aaron, we was 3 really uneducated code enforcement officers. But Mr. Green took the bull by the horn, I guess you could say, and ran with it. And through code enforcement classes and education and on-the-job training, he has came to be one of the greatest code enforcement officer I've seen in my life, because he has a way of having people be nice to him when he also serving them with violations. I've never seen that before in my life, but Mr. Green is an awesome employee, and I hope I can get 2 or 3 more like him. And with his help and his guidance, I think we're gonna turn this city the way it needs to be.
Mr. Green.
Thank you.
And our sponsor for the Employee of the Month is Two Sisters LLC.
All right. Don, and also your director. I mean, if y'all go up there, so looks really good.
I told you.
Yes. That's a nice gift, Dave. If you don't want it, I'll take it.
You know, David moved over from another one of our departments to take on this job.
Wow.
He had no experience, no training. He and Eddie both went to school, became certified. And if any of you have any idea of how difficult it is to be a code enforcement officer, you understand what a great job he's doing because of the fact that you aren't getting more complaints.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to make anybody happy as a code enforcement officer. And the fact that he's been as effective as he has and seems to keep a good rapport with the people, our citizens, I think that's a testament to the job he's doing. So I want to also express my appreciation.
Yes, it's slightly tougher than being the mayor and the commissioners.
Hey, next up, it's Proclamation for International Firefighters Day, May 4th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas hundreds of dedicated and selfless firefighters in our community provide vital and life-saving services to the citizens of their communities. At a moment's notice, these men and women risk their lives by subduing fires and rescuing those trapped in infernos, as well as saving citizens from emergencies that could have been deadly situations. And whereas International Firefighters Day is observed on May 4th annually, to remember our firefighters who paid the ultimate sacrifice to protect our safety, and to show our support and appreciation to firefighters throughout the community who continue to protect us throughout the year. And whereas the loss of life or property by fire can cause our citizens and community a great sense of grief, firefighters are always available to protect our citizens from structure fires, vehicle fires, and property fires that affect all segments of our society. And whereas firefighters assist law enforcement and emergency personnel to control hazardous situations and provide excellent medical care. And whereas firefighters contribute significantly to the continued well-being of the city of Palakka through their outstanding commitment to community service. Now therefore, I, Taylor Hill, Mayor of the City of Palakka, together with the members of the Palakka City Commission, do hereby proclaim May the 4th, 2022 as International Firefighters Day in the city of Palakka. And we call upon our citizens to respect and honor the work of our dedicated firefighters who protect and serve us all. And with this whereof I be to set my hand and cause to be fixed the official seal of the city of Palakka this 28th day of April in the year of our Lord 2022.
So move. Motion for a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Let's give a round up.
We just wanted to thank everyone for recognizing the sacrifices of firefighters and their families. Firefighting is a dangerous job, as you guys are aware. There are many men and women across the world who participate in this occupation. And I would just like to ask that you keep our firefighters, our local firefighters in Putnam County and Palakka in your prayers as we move forward. And thank you for everything.
Next up is Hurricane Preparedness Week, May 1st through 7th, 2022. Whereas National Hurricane Preparedness Week is May 1st through 7th, 2022, and whereas hurricane, which are most likely to occur between June 1st and November 30th, produce heavy winds, torrential rains, inland flooding, and tornadoes continue to pose a serious threat to the residents and the businesses of the city of Palatka, Florida. Therefore, it's important that all residents and businesses be aware of the dangers that hurricanes present and to remain vigilant to lessen the loss of life and minimize property. And whereas residents should maintain emergency supply kits to use at home or during an evacuation with enough non-perishable food and water to sustain people and pets for at least 3 to 7 days. Have a weather alert radio, know their shelter locations and evacuation routes, and comply with local authorities when asked to evacuate. And whereas the Special Needs Program provides disaster-related evacuation assistance and care for those without other alternatives who will need transportation assistance to the shelter and or have health conditions that require medical attention. Those citizens are encouraged to pre-register through the Putnam County Emergency Medical Services. And whereas the Florida Division of Emergency Management and the National Weather Services and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, have joined together urging all citizens to prepare for hurricanes and to educate themselves on hurricane preparedness and safety strategies. Now, therefore, I, Terrell Hill, Mayor of the City of Palakka, Florida, together with the members of the Palakka City Commission, do hereby proclaim the week of May 1st through 7th, 2022 as Hurricane Preparedness Week in the city of Palakka. And we urge every citizen in our community to act now and make ready their families and home and stay alert. And witness wherever I've here to set my hand and cause to be affixed the seal of the city of Palakka, Florida, on this 28th day of April in year of our Lord 2022. I'll entertain a motion. There's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Borum, a motion on the floor by Commissioner Campbell, a second by Commissioner Borum. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Let's give a round of applause for Hurricane Preparedness.
You can put your address on the evacuation and some address lookup on putnam-fl.com. Develop a plan, assemble your supplies, definitely make sure that you have the weather radio, the flashlights, batteries, gas, medication, water. You don't need to go buy a bottle of water. You have water on your tap, fill up whatever you can find. Get plenty of non-perishables. Not hurricane snacks before the hurricane. I will say that a million times. Check and make sure your home insurance is up to date. Protect your home, help your neighbors, and make sure you have a written plan. You want to hope for the best and plan for the worst. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes all of our presentations and proclamations. We're now moving to item 4 of the agenda, which is public comments. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. No action will be taken on topics of discussion. Anyone wishing to speak during public comment, please fill out a yellow speaker's card, yellow if you're on the other side of the county. And we will go ahead and take care of that at this time. Please, as you come forward, give your name and address so that we can have it for the record. First up is Ms. Lilita Thomas.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lilita Thomas. My address is 2406 Lee Terrace, Palakka, Florida, 32177. To the commissioners, I come before you representing the Family Life Center. I sent a presentation to you all last week just to kind of highlight the Family Life Center and what we have to offer. I know many have seen about the pool, so that's what I would like to address today. The facility itself is a 80,000 square foot facility. For those who don't know, it's located in the heart of the north side. The facility has 2 phases. Phase 1 was completed in 2002, and we do have a second phase that is incomplete at this time. The facility houses a junior Olympic size indoor pool, and this pool can be heated in the winter time. That can be used. We want to have that pool available to the community, to offer it for free, to offer swimming lessons to not only just our youth, but to our adults and all of Putnam County citizens. We want to allow the citizens who may be getting therapy or who may need to get in the water and do forms of exercises to be able to come out and use the facility in that manner as well. So what we are asking for the commission whether it's through your ARPA funds, whether it's through any other type of grant funds or any other budget line item that you may have, that you look to donate us $35,000 in order to get that pool in an operational state that we may open it up to the community. The Family Life Center, for those who may not know who are here or who may be looking online, the facility also houses a commercial-sized kitchen. We have a large banquet room. There is a gymnasium that is currently open to the young men. They go in sometimes, open it up and have basketball games. We've had it before to do skate nights. We've done shut-ins with our youth. In this gymnasium, there's a teen center that's also available. The restrooms are equipped with showers that can also be used. There's office space as well as meeting rooms. So we're able to provide this space for families doing any type of need. We know, as we just talked about, hurricane season is coming up. There are definitely opportunities that this facility could be possibly used as a shelter or a place for someone to go if in need. So I'm just requesting again to our commission, if you would consider supporting this project of making sure or helping us get the pool open to our youth. To have it for this summer would be an awesome idea. We will be running, there will be a summer camp ran at that facility during the summer. So this would definitely add to that opportunity while we have kids there and available. So again, thank you in advance for your thoughts, for your consideration in helping us make this a reality.
Man, can we take this as an emergency item? This is not on.
What's your basis for taking it as an emergency item?
Well, the basis is basically what I've heard and what I've seen in the presentation. Since they weren't able to bring it to us, I looked over it, and basically what they're doing is what we need to do in terms of be able to support efforts like that, because what we have a facility, a Jenkins facility right now that we're trying to get up, and basically it's in the same area. They could use those funds to help serve the community that's in need right now. And like in past years, the kids weren't able to afford the prices that they have. But now if it's open free to the public to be able to use, that will help immediately give those kids who are in dire need of activities, among other things to do at that facility. And it can serve many different needs from what I'm understanding. So I think $35,000 is a drop in the bucket. We've done a number of other things as it relates to, we've given $15,000 to help people with their roof. We've given $75,000 for the festival that's coming up. This will be something that will be an immediate impact to the community in terms of letting, and help in so many different ways. So I'm just thinking along those lines and if it's free, in the past it was fees. So I just see an immediate impact on the community. Positive.
I also would like to bring it up as well. I think it's an opportunity for us to have the dialogue or conversation that we've not necessarily been able to have. I know in the past there have been some opportunities or tried to make some opportunities for us to partner with the Life Center. In the past, I'm not sure of what has came out of those conversations. Of course, we were not privy to them. But again, I think this would be an opportunity if we have the funding or if we can find the funding to at least engage in some kind of conversation. I believe if we wanted it one time before, why would we not want to have that conversation again to see if there is something that we are willing to do? And I may be a little bit biased, only because that center played a vital part in when I was being brought up. We would go in on Friday nights and we would have skate parties and all of those kind of things. And I would definitely, as a child growing up, literally across the field from that Life Center, I saw from where it was truly active every day of the week to where it went dormant for several years. And if we have the opportunity to partner with them in some capacity, again, if we have the funding, I would definitely love for us to entertain a conversation to see what it is that we can do. As stated, summer is coming up. We know during the summer, idle mind tend to do a devil workshop. And again, if we could do something to bring life to that facility, because I don't think that she mentioned it, but it also has a fitness facility in there as well. And it's a holistic approach of what we need, not only in Palakka, but more specifically on that side of town.
And I'm in full support of this, creating a partnership with the Life Center. And my key question would be entertaining the conversation to see if that's something that we can, help fund and support. So appreciate you bringing this to us and asking us. I'm definitely looking forward to immediately impacting and helping the community.
I don't have any questions. I also support partnering with the Family Life Center. It is in the center of our community. I don't know about the funding, but I do suggest that we look and see how we can partner. I did suggest earlier, I don't know, first of all, go back to the question. I support it, but the
But I think, so it sounds to me that what we're talking about would be something that would take place this summer, as opposed to within the next 2 weeks prior to us having another meeting. Ms. Thomas has already indicated that she has a presentation, I think, which will outline what some of the other things that are out there. So it doesn't seem like time is of the essence from the standpoint that it's something that's necessary for us to do within in this meeting that we can't do next meeting. So my suggestion would be that we put them on the agenda for next meeting, which will be the second Thursday in May. That will give an opportunity to have additional conversations. Historically, just so that everybody knows, Chief Shaw, Mr. Cutright, and also I think Mr. Griffith was involved with some of the conversations that we had in the past in an effort to try to create the partnerships with the Family Life Center. Mr. Holmes and I have actually from our law firms, we've actually funded swimming lessons at the Life Center in the past from our personal capacity and our professional capacities. So the opportunity exists to sit down and have real conversations about how that could work. Again, before it was $180,000 and it wasn't feasible for anybody for us to be able to pay $15,000 a month as it related to operating a facility. But it sounds like there may be some additional conversations which were far different than the ones that started out with both Chief and I before with PAL, and just kind of moving forward and having conversations from that standpoint. So my suggestion would be that we that we go ahead and place this on the agenda for the first meeting in May, so that we can start to have a conversation as it pertains to this particular issue, because there has to be a budget analysis as to where we are. There has to be some conversation about particulars as to whether it's realistic and how we get there, and what's allowable and what's not allowable from that standpoint. And then there are some other considerations that we'll address prior to that meeting, so that everybody's on the same page. And so I think those are some of the issues that are there, and we can start to deal with those in-house and have that set for the agenda as we move forward, if that's agreeable with the commission as a whole.
I yielded the floor, but before we do that, I would like to complete my thought. So in support, and I think that we can move forward with doing a memo of understanding and utilizing the partnership, not stating that we're gonna just give the money, but we're actually partnering. So that's a way around some of the red tape. I think we could do that. And if we also, and I spoke to Ms. Thomas some time ago about maybe we give a portion, Housing Authority, the county, other resources could be also used. But I agree with Commissioner Borum, $35,000 is a small investment for our community. We put it in, and we will be utilizing it. I mean, our police department is using it right now with the PAL. So we're using it, and I'm quite sure we can do a budget amendment and find some money, because we just did that again for what organization just asked for the Blue Crab Festival to come in. So I'm full support of it. And what are you gonna run in like 2 months, 2 weeks? When do you?
Well, we'd really like to be able to go ahead and initiate getting the work started, so that we can ensure that we have time enough to get the necessary parts in, so that the work can be done and have it ready by June. So.
I do have additional question. And again, I know it's coming back before us, but is there anything that the Life Center is willing to put towards that cost to show that they're trying to meet us in good favor?
Yeah, we definitely, because once it's up and once it's running, we definitely have to make sure it's maintained. And that's definitely where we would be able to put the money in there to ensure that it's kept up, all of the maintenance, all of the day-to-day operations for once we get it up and running.
And I think I could speak on this, Ms. Shank, about ARPA funds. One thing about the ARPA funds, it's sort of to make people whole again. So if you had a setback from the pandemic, and like the center had to be up and running and the pool had to be up and running, and this is something that we're making whole again, is that correct? And I would like to refer to you to see if this is an expense that we could actually, at this time, utilize from the ARPA funding, because she specifically asked that first. But I know we could do a budget amendment, but from the ARPA funding, I want to know.
Mayor, could I ask a question? I would simply suggest that perhaps when the applicant comes back before the commission, that they bring some details as to how the money would be spent, how the program would be run, If they've got some estimates on the repairs for the pool, if that's what the money's to go to, then perhaps those estimates could be brought so that the commission would understand where the 35,000 or whatever amount you decide to appropriate is going to be applied. And then also some assurances about the program, how long it would last, if they've got something set up to sustainability of the program, so that you have some idea of what the money is going to accomplish. You request that of anybody who requests a grant of you and any of your programs that you've got. So that's just a suggestion that I have.
That was the purpose of me suggesting that we wait until the next meeting so that we can start to vet the project.
Yeah, I definitely can bring that back. I do have an itemized list of all of the necessary equipment that will be required, including labor, for the pool to be up and running. So I definitely can bring that back to the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Kitchens.
I think it's a very good idea about trying to get that tool open to the public. I am, what you said, Mr. Mayor, and what you said, Mr. Combs, this does not need to be an emergency item tonight. When we're close to an emergency, you know, when we get next week for the next meeting, get with the city attorney, get with your insurance providers, find out what the legal liability is. And I know that there has to be a lifeguard on duty at every pool that's involved in the city. So you need to look at the finances, you need to look at the legal aspects, get with this Larry Thomas, get with Mr. Combs, and also you probably need to get with the art people and talk to them, because they also have a swimming program in the summer for youth and adults, and you wouldn't want to be contradictory to them, but I think you can complement each other, and I think it's a splendid idea, but not in this emergency item, do it on the next meeting.
Thank you.
May I make one more request with regards to that? Is
Yes,
it
sir.
possible with some of the things that you've mentioned, or some of the things that you may know that may come up as regards to concerns, that those be given to them prior to kind of eliminate some of the
Back and forth.
The plan is to have a meeting with them so that we can address the concerns, whatever concerns or goals or objectives initially, and then bring back a formal presentation that's adjusted based upon those conversations to kind of deal with those issues from the beginning, and also look at funding streams and what opportunities may exist.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Harold Waller. So as Mr. Waller comes up, he is the new executive director for the Heart of Putnam. And I invited him into the meeting tonight so that he can talk about some of the great things that are going on at the Heart of Putnam. I'm excited about the leadership.
My name's Harold Waller. Hired back in 2018, didn't see myself doing anything from that point on. And now I stepped up to run the Heart of Putnam food pantry. I'll give you a little bit what our numbers are there. Prior to COVID, we were feeding 1,200 families a month. COVID came and it dropped down to approximately 800, 400. But this month, because of Epicure and when they started their new way of processing people, they had to cut off the amount of people that are they can take now. Our numbers jumped from 400 this month to 800. And I got a feeling we're going to see 1,200 again here within the next 2 to 3 months, just from the cost of fuel and people not being able to afford food. So you have an idea on the food. We used to buy food at $1 a pound. Now we're spending $2 a pound. So, and that affects everybody, and we're buying in bulk, and everybody else don't get to do that. But what I'm letting y'all know is they've asked me to step up to the plate for this. When I talked to the mayor, I told him that when I step up to the plate, that means we're not sitting back, because no one's heard of Heart of Putnam in a long time, and that's going to change. I'm planning on growing it. I would like to make it into something so that when a family comes in, maybe we can get them to the next level where they don't need food anymore. where we can get them a job, where we can get them a better job, or where we can get them onto federal funding of some sort with SNAPs, or where we can do it all from right there in our facility. Can't happen overnight, but it's something that's my plan to get us moving along into a better way of helping people in Palakka. Any questions?
Any questions or comments?
Just want to just thank him for the service that you're providing to our community. Only question is, the days that you guys serve, I know we have a number of pantries throughout the city and county, but I'm mainly concerned with the city. In terms of the days that they operate or whatever, do we have any that operate on, that none operate on the weekend, right?
Epicure is open on Saturdays. Because they've went from the long line of people outside on Highway 17 to now everybody has to have an appointment. And so in order to do that, and they could only take 800 families now when they did this. So they're open now on Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay, good. So the only thing they're missing is Sunday. Yeah, have to go to church.
Yeah, there's some place you can get food somewhere around in the city at some point.
All right, I just want to, make sure that they are covered, Monday through Sunday or whatever, to where people have access to food or whatever. We have a lot of food deserts.
I think along those same lines, Commissioner, one of the things that I talked about with Mr. Waller was just his spirit of collaboration with other entities, including some of the smaller churches and community organizations that are out that have food pantries on a smaller scale, being able to have conversations with them and also provided it and to be able to provide additional resources to them. And that was something new that I hadn't heard from anyone as it related to collaboration, as opposed to duplication of services. And so that was something that was one of his key projects, was to start to truly educate the smaller entities and to be able to kind of be a warehouse for them as well, so that as they begin to do certain things, he could help span the resources. And so I was excited to hear that. And just to go over and look at the operation work, it was a work of art. So I definitely appreciate you being here.
And since we've talked, I've had state agencies now already contacting me with the exact same verbiage that you was talking to me about getting us to the next level, so that possibly we could start sending food out to different cities in the county, so that we become the hub of Putnam County. Instead of just us serving Palakka, we can service other cities and let them have the food, have more food. Because right now, no one's pushing food but Epicure and us, I believe, at the amount we're doing.
What Epicure supposed to be, was the one that was getting food and putting out to, that was at one point?
They're doing it. You got a few organizations up there, including Feed the Need and some of the others, but there's some opportunities there. Also, Mr. Cutright has been working on Farm Share as well. Right. So again, let's give a round of applause to Mr. Waller. We definitely appreciate you being here. It's always good to have positive news coming to Palakka. Now we'll move on to our consent agenda, items A through H. Are there any items on the consent agenda that you wish to have removed at this time? Hearing none.
Excuse me. I didn't mean to say that.
Yeah, you did. You're moving slow. Listen, you got to stop me. I'm moving.
But let's pull item 8.
Okay, F. I go down to F on my agenda.
On
No,
consent?
no, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry.
You just had a
Oh,
birthday.
that was my fault. I was looking at you.
You just had another birthday.
8G, I'm sorry, 5G and 8.
G and H?
5G and number 8.
We're not to that. That's
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, 5G at this point.
so far I've heard F and G.
You on F, Commissioner?
Did you want F?
No. I was just looking at.
Oh, you said you're only going to F.
Okay.
So are there any items besides 5G?
I would make the motion that we accept the consent agenda as it is printed, with excluding number G, letter G.
So, second.
There's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Campbell. There's a second by Commissioner McCaskill. Is there any further discussion on the consent agenda for all items except G? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. 5G, adopt resolution number 2022 R77, authorize execution of a lighting agreement with FPL to furnish, install, and maintain street lights on Mango Drive for a monthly fee of $26.75. Mr. Griffith, before we read the caption.
Mr. Griffith.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. As with our policy, this was brought to our attention by a resident. The police department and public works looked at the area, basically confirmed there was a need for lighting in the area. We also looked at the neighborhood and confirmed that the rest of the neighborhood was lit and this one stretch of road was not. So this is at the cost of $26.75 a month, which comes up to $321 a year, sir.
Is that, so that is the city, because the reason why I wanted to pull it is, I know some of those areas are
mixed,
county road, city road. So is that entire road, city road?
Where these 4 lights are going is entirely within the city, yes, sir.
Okay, great. So as a commissioner, I wanted to ask a question about how do we identify? I spoke to Chief Shaw, excuse me, recently about lighting and how would we get better lighting in some of the areas that we're having some of the violence in. And we thought about lighting could be a little help, not a resolution, but some help. And we've had citizens ask about that. So how can we get an assessment in some of those areas, Director?
So, sir, what we could do, obviously with input from citizens and from the police department, I'm sure they know of areas that are not well lit, maybe areas that would be good candidates. We could look at those and we could ask FPL or Play Electric, depending on the service area, to give you a cost for consideration.
Yes.
FPL does have a GPS map of all of our lights. It is a little hard to read, but my suggestion would be basically just look to our citizens and our police department for suggestions.
So it usually is for a street, usually like $26.75?
Depending on the light, yes, sir.
And I know we replaced some lighting in those areas, and Chief probably gave more, but it doesn't seem like illuminates a lot in those areas at night. So just because it was on here, I wanted to pull it for discussion.
Okay.
Chief,
For us, and in talking with Commissioner Jones, we've been identifying the lights and doing the inspections at night and responding to City Hall in reference to what needs to be replaced. But one of the questions that was posed and something that we stated was possibly looking at something that would, like he said, illuminate a little bit brighter, maybe a different light above or a product that would light up a little bit more in the area. Because what we're finding is some of the lights are there, they're not that bright at all.
So would it be, with this contact, would that be Steve Hessler?
No, sir, it's a different contact since we converted everything to LED. If there are areas that don't appear to have enough illumination, it's as simple as asking FPL to give us another contract and specifying a different light. So we really just need the locations and we can look at the options.
So let's set up a meeting. Let's set up a meeting to get a listing.
So part of what we're doing for us on the night shift, we're starting in first of all, our targeted areas and going through and identifying those areas that need either new lighting, and he'll be getting some soon from our walk from Tuesday, but need new lighting or need better lighting. And I thought that was just a question we had, and I'm glad you were able to answer if we could get better lighting. Yeah. And we'll send that information down to City Hall.
And let's do something else with that, if it's okay with the commission. Push out a question on your social media pages.
Yes, sir.
Asking citizens to identify, and I guess you can coordinate that with Mr. Holmes or Mr. Griffith, because he can also do like the Survey Monkey stuff. Asking the citizens, what are their suggestions for areas that may need lighting? And then we can evaluate those as well while we push those out and bring the results back within a couple of weeks. And then from there, we can meet with FPL and see what the costs are and bring it back from a contract standpoint.
And also to kind of piggyback off what Mayor, that suggestion, I know that we have upcoming meetings with the community. Is it possible for us to have some of that information or some kind of check card that we could have presented and gain some of that information from those particular talks as well?
As far as our quarterly meetings, at those meetings, we will have something in place, and I'll make sure we have something to identify lighting for that area for the questionnaire. But we also been doing it for our Talking Tuesday. So we've been identifying it through that. So we've been trying to use every avenue we can to not only identify lighting, but other stuff in the area that we can help benefit for the citizens.
And take Commissioner Detective Jones with you as well. He's got a background.
Yeah, 'cause
His background is from insurance to law enforcement. He can work this.
No, but what I have noticed is once we cross our bridge, their lights are a lot brighter than they are on this side of town. So you hear the public, okay? So, all
She's
right,
always
thanks,
crossing the
guys.
bridge. Okay, so good comment. Now that we have the comment in place, is there a motion? Don't worry about it. We good. Is there a motion? We don't need a caption.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need a caption. Yeah, item G. There's a motion to accept item G.
Second.
There's a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Sonny. Ms. Krantz. Next up is item number 6, adopting resolution 2022 R79, authorizing the contract with ClearGov from the digital budget book for the cost not to exceed $7,750 annually.
Resolution 2022 R79, a resolution of the City of Park, Florida, authorizing a contract with ClearGov for a digital budget book in the amount of $7,750 annually for a 4-year term, preventing for scrivener's errors.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor in a second. We're now open the floor for public comment. Before we go to public comment, Ms. Shank, you want to go ahead?
Okay, so recently, a lot of government organizations are starting to change the way that they present their budget. I'm having Ms. Krantz pull up a video. In our GFOA, there's a forum that goes out, and actually a lot of entities have went with ClearGov. Now, one thing that's very particular is our actual financial software. So I had to actually do a lot of research with other government organizations that have our financial software. So okay, perfect, thank you. I took a lot of time looking into it, meeting with the representatives of ClearGov as well as other governments, specifically City of Cove, which I actually met them while I was at the ADG conference. They use this digital budget book, and the video is just kind of a snippet to show you a little bit of how easy it is to navigate around the digital budget book. It's also ADA compliant, so we wouldn't have to worry about those threats and liabilities out there with that. And it also conforms to GFOA standards. So GFOA, as you know, is the Government Finance Officers Association, and the city of Palakka has never received the budget book award. It is actually one of my goals, and I hope to actually get that for our organization. It's very prestigious. So this actually conforms with it. So we would be checking off every box to get that award. So I'm gonna let Sunny just play the video so you can kind of see how it navigates around a little bit.
You'll notice I'm starting here on the transmittal letter, but I can click through to any of these pages with my navigation bar, which is a modern take on your traditional table of contents. Coming into our budget overview section, we can see that we've created a unique page for the impact of COVID-19 on our operating budget. Navigating to our general fund summary, you can see a description of this fund, and then we've got that summary page. One of the best parts of this being a digital budget book is that it really allows you to customize your view as the reader. You'll notice that I can toggle these revenue sources off or on, as well as changing the style of graph I'm viewing to better match my needs and priorities. And again, I can drill down to that account level detail. Let's take a quick look at a fleshed out public safety department page. First, we've got that description explaining how we serve residents. Then here's our budget, and this was all done in a few minutes by generating that template and just filling in all of this content. The last feature I want to highlight is the ability to print our digital budget book to a PDF. I can
So I do want to point out currently the way that we produce our budget document is actually in Excel. So what happens is I hand key all the numbers into ADG and from there have to turn around and hand key them all into Excel. From there, I have to create the graphs myself. I have to PDF it all in one. And this is City of Ocoee's digital budget book, actually. And I've sent you all these links as well, if you wanted to go back and review them. But my hope is that the commission sees the value in this, not only for myself and staff, saving time because it's automated. So I literally just send them a CSV Excel file and it automates all of it. Whereas, like I said, I have to hand key all of it. City of Ocoee has a budget office of 6 people. And they saved 3 weeks of time by implementing this. You can change it as many times as you want. So if we do implement it this fiscal year, our proposed budget in July would be the digital format. It's a one-time implementation fee. And then of course it's prorated for the remainder of the year. And then we would have this $77.50 each continual year. So if this is approved, I've actually, went back over my budget and made cuts myself. So there would be no direct impact this fiscal year as far as needing to pull from reserves or anything like that. And then it would just be built into the budget moving forward. Do you have any questions about the digital budget book?
Will that save on staff?
It will save me.
You don't have to,
Yes,
we're about to hire somebody else in there, right? So will that save on that?
we are not hiring someone.
All right.
That's fine. Yeah, it look like it might, for sure say, will help with efficiency and also possibility of errors.
Correct.
You having to input it twice.
Mhm.
So I think it will help in that respect.
I think it's time for us to be forward thinking and I like the idea.
I know Lauren likes it.
I bet.
I'm sorry, Ms. Krantz? Did we read the caption already?
Yeah.
We've read the caption. Now open the floor for public comment. Is there anyone here for public hearing? Seeing no one, we'll close public hearing. Any further discussion from the commission? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Couple times.
Next up, discussion and direction on city-owned vehicle policy.
Mayor, previously, as you recall, this item was on the agenda and pushed. In the interim, staff invited public members who wish to provide suggestions, to provide those suggestions by email. Campbell did. We have provided the policies that currently exist, as well as Mr. Campbell's suggestions, and are looking for direction from the commission as to how the commission would like us to move forward if the commission wishes us to change vehicle policies. There are some policies that we are changing sort of at our own initiative. One in particular from the police department, we put out as a directive as of right now, but we'll be changing that to an actual policy. In consultation with the chief, I think we'll come up with something that we believe better addresses what we feel are some considerations. So we have that particular issue that we are changing on our own, or that we are changing from self-initiated, I guess, motivation, but the commission may have others as well.
Chief, you want to give a summary of what your change was?
Sure, actually, we've already implemented the change for the use out of county for out of city, actually, out of the city geographical area. We've made changes for pedestrians riding in the vehicle as far as family members and things of that sort for our marked units. We've also put out an initiative to remove the tent off of our marked units of the front windows so we can tear down that barrier. We had some questions about that and where we do agree with the tent on the vehicles and how over time we've had some that we probably should be removing. So we're going to go ahead and remove them. We gave a 10-day notice to get that removed, and I believe our date is set for May 8th to have them all removed, with the exception of the K-9 unit, the supervisor, and the detectives division. But outside of that, we made those changes. We've also made changes to do away with the air miles, and that's listed in our policy, and we are in process of making suggestions for the amount of distance that it should be in regular miles. And let me see.
You're gonna make that uniform with, you're gonna do your mileage is you're gonna try to make the mileage uniform for both the city policy and the PD policy?
Street, the closest practicable street route rather than air mileage, because air mileage is, no one travels in a straight line by air. So we're converting the mileage to a street mile by closest practicable route.
Shortest route by GPS.
That's correct.
Yeah, closest practicable route.
There's two, I'm sorry, go ahead. There's two portions in our policy that allows for the 10 miles outside of the city limits for those who live within that 10 miles. But then we have our detectives, our administrators, and our K-9s that are on-call divisions that we're asking, we're looking at currently at a 25-mile radius.
That's the 30-minute window, right?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And then on top of that, we've changed the policy so that if you're operating the vehicle outside the city limits, then you're not allowed to run personal errands outside the city limits. Your travel outside the city limits is to your place of residence and then back to work. And the rationale for all of this is it's just, I think it's based on logic, and that is part of the logic of having a take-home vehicle is that if you're in the vehicle off time and a call for assistance comes out, then you're able to respond to that call for assistance, and it's a force multiplier. But that advantage doesn't exist if you're in Interlochen or Crescent City when you're running errands. So our thought was that if we're allowing people to drive the vehicle home outside the city limits, then their travel outside the city limits is limited to going to their house and then back to work again, rather than running errands outside the city limits. I'm not saying anybody's doing it, but I mean, theoretically, if you're taking the vehicle home to Interlochen or Crescent City or Green Cove Springs, you go to the grocery store or something, or the convenience store or whatever, you're not available at that point to answer a call for assistance on an emergency or urgent basis because you're so far from the city limits. So we made those suggestions to our changes to our policy as well.
And it's just, and I see the statements to and from home. And one of the ways we're going to make sure that we keep a good audit or close eye on that is doing our audits from our AVLs, which is our GPS units.
Everybody will be signing an acknowledgement that they understand that the GPS will be audited on a random basis. And if it shows travel that's not authorized, then they'd be subject to disciplinary action up to including discipline and loss of privileges.
Now, may I ask a question with regards to that? Is it going to be something that is scheduled, or is it going to be random? Because one thing that I don't want us to do is start something and we don't keep up with it. Again, I often say we talk about stuff when it's hot, but when it's no longer hot, we tend to forget about it. And holding our, not just police department, but anyone that operates a city vehicle, we want to make sure that we hold them accountable, and we don't want to allow them to think for 1 minute that we're going to be laxed on what it is that we've implemented.
You will be on a regular scheduled periodic basis. Units that are reviewed will be on a random basis because otherwise there's such a time commitment involved. But yes, there'll be a regularly scheduled review, but the vehicles that are reviewed are going to be on a random basis.
Thank you.
And one of the things we did prior to actually making the change and bringing the policy before you is I did a directive as of yesterday for those items for the window and for the to and from and the personal use. I do have one thing that I noticed that was we probably need to look at, so the city and the city policy and the police department policy doesn't conflict, is the items of, or the item where non-employees are in the vehicle. If we look at that, that would eliminate our ride-along program. And being that we do have civilians that ride along with the police department, that would actually contradict with what the city policy states, so.
Well, I think that all those ride-alongs should be passed on and approved by the city manager. That'll take care of that, because anybody who's in that car will have a file, so we'll know that. And the biggest thing is the liability of a passenger ride and something happened, and we're liable for that passenger. I think that's the whole totality of that. Ride-along and auxiliary, that should be a liability form that's passed along, and the city manager know who those people are and been authorized.
Well, we definitely keep a file of it, and I do understand that that wasn't basically stated to eliminate, but I did want to make mention that if we didn't add any verbiage or we didn't mention it, that it would contradict.
You mentioned 25 miles. That was for the CRT and the.
That's just for the detectives.
One exception.
Yes,
Just your-
that's correct.
Your essentials.
Yes, sir.
Just any other questions for PD as it relates to the vehicle policy? While we're also wanted to talk to Mr. Griffith so that he could indicate some of the adjustments that you've made since going back over into the public works side as it related to take home vehicles.
So we're still adhering to superintendents who have the ability to have a take-home vehicle. And that is because they are subject to emergency on-call. And as Mr. Holmes kind of referenced, it is allowable for them to use it for incidental errands on their way to and from work. We do have GPS units on the majority of the public works fleet. We're actually completing an audit now to see if there's some additional vehicles we want to bring before you to add annual contracts on. And those GPS units have alerts that we can set on them: geofences, speeding, idle times, stop durations. I currently get alerts on my phone, and it works well. It's even better than scheduled audits. The only other exception, or not an exception, I apologize, is that the on-call personnel has use of a city vehicle. So when they're on call for a week, they take the vehicle with them, and obviously they are called for emergencies.
So one of the things I noticed, and I just noticed this recently, was the tinted windows on public works vehicles. Why?
Comfort.
They don't have an AC. Sunscreen.
Now, if the police have to do it, that's all vehicles, I would think.
It should be across
The board.
across the board.
So that was one of the things because I think the point of it is that we want to break down whatever barriers we have for communication with citizens. And so if we can create opportunities for engagement, and it's really no different. I've heard from the fire department to public works, people talk about having sometimes negative encounters depending on where they go based upon certain factors being in place. And I think anytime that we can start to create those more positive encounters and break down barriers and engage citizens, then it just works for everybody. And I think at the end of the day, if we have uniformity in policy, if we're requiring law enforcement to do it, if we're going to require the airport or even the fire department to do it, then it should be something that's done everywhere, even recreation or whomever. I think it creates opportunities for us to make sure it's all done, and it becomes, a standard as to how we put things in place. And at the end of the day, it's going to be, it reduces the cost and additional cost.
For the record, sir, I take no issue with it. If it's a standard you want to set, we'll adhere to it.
I think we should
Commissioner
consider
McCaskill?
a deadline, just like the police department has already gave us a deadline as to when they'll have theirs removed. I think we should be uniform. Well, if possible.
We gave ours a 10-day grace period with the fact that, and it went into effect yesterday, with the fact that knowing that it doesn't require any cost to remove the tent, or additional labor to send it out to get it removed.
That's on the front windows, right?
On the front driver and passenger window, that's correct.
Where people may transport it. Yeah, I mean, I get the logic behind it. But I think it's more to just it's more so of having the driver engage with citizens at some point.
Good job.
And I remember even in the past, we had those policies before, if you remember, when they were required to keep their windows down at some times. I think this makes it a lot easier. Any other comments or concerns as it relates to policy? Any other department head that may have a suggestion as well?
Well,
Commissioner
I know
Campbell?
I'm not a department, but I just want to make sure that we take in consideration the some of the things when I looked at other cities, what they had implemented with their take home or with their policy as well. Again, those were some things that I submitted and they were put in the comment section for consideration of the commission. Because currently what we have is a two-page document and it's very vague. And I think it leaves a lot of room for
Interpretation.
yeah.
Discretion.
And again, I think we need to kind of hone down on what it is that we are doing with our vehicle policy.
Yeah, and so I guess from a history standpoint, also something that, you know, we have to take into consideration. A few years back, and I think Chief can attest to it, and some of the officers, you had there was a trend around the state when officers had take-home vehicles. You had agencies that were trying to charge the officer for taking the vehicles home, and that wasn't very popular. And it was a deterrent in many ways. I think at some point we look at it, you know, the ability to be able to take your vehicle any distance off site becomes, you know, it's an added bonus for some folks. Some agencies literally charge or they create income or some incentive for that they're taxed on with other agencies. I think the city of Palakka doesn't do that. I think so in itself, it's something that sets us aside from other agencies. But when we look at the cost, the rising cost of fuel and some of the things that are out there, we've got to figure out ways to be more efficient so that at the end of the day, we're getting the most bang for our buck, and we can make sure we also extend the life of vehicles. We've seen with Public Works, for example, at one point, you know, we saw some vehicles that were leaving the county and going to places historically. Those vehicles were on the yard and not even taken home. And so I think Mr. Griffith came in and made some immediate adjustments. Chief's now making adjustments. And I think some of it is just a matter of us coming together and finding out what the common ground is or how we start to adjust based on the times. Because 2 years ago, gas was half the price, you know, and now we're in a different stage, and you can blow your budget just on transportation as to where we are. And so we have to sit back and make adjustments because we're doing the same things that we had to do in 2008 when the gas prices skyrocketed. And so all those things become a reality, because if not, we'll find ourselves sitting and talking about budget amendments and some adjustments. Your microphone, sir.
For the record, I take no exception, have no objection to incorporating all of the suggestions or suggested policies that Commissioner Campbell has submitted. But we just wanted to make sure that the commission was good with all of those. There's nothing on here that's radical that I see or that's outside the realm of reason. So we can incorporate all of these. They're pretty standard. You have to have a driver's license that's appropriate to the class vehicle that you're driving. I mean, just wear seat belts. I mean, there's nothing on here that's that I see is outside the realm of what's reasonable.
It's just, you know, just the main thing and what I was concerned with, just, you know, the liability piece with life, health, and safety when you have either ride-alongs or family members or whoever may be in the vehicles, the city vehicles. I just, you know, just really make sure that we're, you know, we are covered. I know other cities had it. I know Crescent City had it. I know the school district also has the policy as well in terms of how you utilize your vehicles with or or whatever it may be. So it's in line with what I think is good and right and proper. So transparency and accountability. Clear gov.
Commissioner.
No.
Also, once we take effect, once whatever we decide is taken into effect, how would we disseminate the information to ensure that those who operate those vehicles are fully aware of the new policy that has been implemented? It would be my suggestion with any change of policy that I've said on various boards, that once they are given that information, that some kind of document is signed to ensure that they are in know, just in case anything comes up in the future, that you have a signed document that you sign with regards to the new implementation of the policy.
So we're gonna do, so I know the PD has a policy, they're signing acknowledgements. And so it looks like everyone's gonna be signing acknowledgement on the new policy as it's put in place. And is that something that's gonna be done through HR as a part of, and adopted through the handbook as well? So,
Push it to the department heads and let HR coordinate that.
okay, thank you. That's what I was asking, Ms. Jones, I'm sorry. So, and so that piece is in there. So as it relates to where we are tonight, do we want to go ahead and have a motion at this time, or do we want to have a final draft brought back to us for approval at the next meeting?
I would make the recommendation that, again, to give them the opportunity to have, or if they would like to add, but again, I wouldn't want us to rush into a decision tonight.
Is that going to be enough time, or do you want the end of May? Okay. Okay. All right. So I'll entertain a motion to continue this until our first meeting in May.
So move.
Second.
Motion on the floor in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much for your work on this and for the adjustments that have already been made.
Excellent work.
Next up is item number 8, adopt resolution 2022 R69 to adopt the purchasing policy effective for 28/22. I will say this before we get started for sake of time. There are I have some serious concerns as it relates to some of the language in there from a legality standpoint. Because one of the things that we want, as it relates to part of it, is making sure that there is a requirement for disparity study on some of the language. So I would ask that this item be continued for 30 days to provide enough opportunity to do that. Excuse me. And the reason I'm asking 30 days is because we're looking at implementing this as a part of the budgeting process so that it's there, so that technically our effective date would be at the beginning of the fiscal year, correct? You're looking to have, well, you were asking for the 28th, but it's something that it's, as we look for effectiveness, is truly something that's set for budgeting purposes.
It would just be effective the day that the commission approves it.
Right. So that would be my only suggestion, and I think there's some things from a legality standpoint. I just want to get with council to make sure that we cover. I don't know if anyone else had any other concerns that they wanted to address as it relates to this item to put on. I would say second meeting in May, just so that we can make sure that all the I's and T's are dotted. I talked a little bit with Ms. Schenk about some of the concerns. Didn't have an issue with the concept, but just making sure that from a legal standpoint that we were covered.
Once we close out this, I have something to say.
So at this time, I entertain a motion to table.
I'd like to make a motion that we table item 8, the purchasing policy to the second meeting of May.
I second that.
Motion on the floor, second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, and it's just a general question, being that we are speaking of policies. Are there any other policies that we as a commission need to have brought before us to either take a look to see what we can do to change them, if any changes are needed? I know since my time sitting on the dais, we haven't had many policies and procedures to come before us And I've been sitting here for almost 8 years. And if we've been sitting here for almost 8 years and some of our policies have not changed until this recent, I believe that we as a commission have a due diligence to look at some of our policies, to look at some of those other things, to make sure that they are where they need to be with time. When I say time, where we are today in today's world. So I would make a recommendation of any policy that hasn't been updated within the last 10 years, that it comes before the commission or be brought for us so that we can take in consideration, so that again, we can make sure that we are up to speed when it comes down to policies and procedures.
And that we need to periodically just amend that, and we need to periodically do, I guess, a policy review. How many every 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or however, so we don't get so far behind on policies.
So also on that same line, I think one of the things that the manager has talked about and has actually started working towards is looking at some of the HR policies and reviewing those. He's talked to council as it relates to that. You want to go ahead and give like a quick update on where you are?
Well, we're gonna be pursuing our personnel policy, but in addition to that, in conjunction with Chief Shaw, we're looking at a number of policies that apply to the police department, for the purposes of bringing those to the commission adoption and for review, so that, as we've talked, and I think the chief agrees, ultimately the city is going to be responsible for the policies that are implemented by the police department as well as all other departments. And over time, for whatever reason, I guess there've been some policies that haven't really been run past the city commission by some of the different departments, which we're trying to remedy at this point. And so we're looking at all of those and bringing those to you for your review and adoption by department. But the personnel policy across the board is going to be presented to you. We're updating that. That was part of what we paid for with the salary and compensation study, as you recall. And so we'll be bringing the personnel policy to you in full, and then specifically with the police department's procedures and also disciplinary policy.
And then also, I think, and this is something I was going to mention later, and your mic's not on, and just so, and also, she's so much different on Zoom, right? So also something that I was going to mention during my report, but I'll go ahead and mention it now along those same lines, Commissioner, is charter review. There's been a long time since we've had a charter review. So Mr. Kitchens, how long has it been? Okay, we're gonna fix it because it's got some broken pieces. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the charter review and see if there are areas that we need to look at. I'm gonna suggest that we put together a charter review committee to look at some of the things that are there, so that we can see what we have in place and go from there. I know there are one or two things that we have that we've already talked about that we need to look at. But I think it's time for us to do that, and periodically we want to look at it. If it ain't broke, we ain't gonna fix it. But if it's broken, we're gonna fix it so that it works that way. And I think that's the same thing we do with our SOPs. And so we've got new lenses from people like Mr. McNair, who were here, Ms. Jones. And so there's an opportunity for us to be able to advance our community to the next level. And so that's where we're going to look at and go, if that's okay with the commission. And I'll bring back a recommendation for us to look at the charter and see if there are places that we need to adjust. And so any comments from the commission as it relates to those things?
Echo those same sentiments.
And then the last part of it is, as we look at what we've got in place, we've always had the position of vice mayor, which has kind of been in place through Mary Lawson Brown for many, many years. But if you look at our charter, it doesn't exist. And so those are ways that we can start to make those adjustments through charter review, because at the end of the day, if the mayor is absent, then we don't have a formal process for someone else to take over at that point. So those are places where the charter is silent and we need to adjust. And so those are some of the things that are out there. And so we'll move forward from there. For the sake of time, we will go into Item number 9, which is public hearing to adopt resolution 2022 R80, first reading.
Do we formally move to table and approve the tabling of the purchasing policy to the date certain?
Yes, the second
we did,
meeting of May.
yeah. Second meeting of May. Ms. Krantz.
Sorry, 1 second, sir. Resolution 2022-80, a resolution of the city of Palakka, Florida, redesignating the Brownsville area within the city of Palakka, Florida for parcels 42, 10, 27, 68, 50, 500, 0021, 42, 10, 27, 68, 50, 500, 0020, 42, 10, 27, 68, 50, 301, 0260, 07, 10, 27, 9400, 0030, 0080, and the submerged land parcels A, B1, C1, D1, and F within the city limits of Palakka for the purpose of environmental rehabilitation and economic development, providing for effective date and providing for scrivener's errors.
Second.
This motion on the floor by Commissioner Campbell, second by Commissioner McCaskill. I've never heard that many O's being said at one time. We'll now open Mr. Griffith.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to give a brief background on this. If you already recall, back in December, we advertised for the first public hearing of a citywide brownfield area designation. It is a local area designation, which is prescribed by statute. The legal advertisement went out on January 7th. For the second public hearing, we held the first public hearing on January 13th. As you're aware, it failed to pass. We then came back to you on February 16th for a discussion and direction on the Wilson Cypress Cove as a site-specific opt-in designation. As you may recall, it was advertised as an opt-out program originally. We sent out letters to every single resident, did pretty much everything we could do. We gave even more time than what was required by statute for noticing. And we got a lot of feedback. A lot of people did not want to be included in that area-wide designation. But Cypress Mills, during this process, the agent for that property did state that they wanted to opt in. You then directed staff to go ahead and proceed with the first public hearing. That's where we are tonight. Just to go over some of the benefits. Simply, this is an area-wide designation. It doesn't confirm that there's any contamination on the site. The owner of the property would have to confirm that there is eligible cleanup activities. They would then enter into what's called a BISRA, or a Brownfield Site Remediation Agreement with the state of Florida. And they could be eligible for voluntary cleanup tax credits up to $500,000, job bonus tax refunds up to $2,500 per job, and refunds on sales and use tax paid on building materials for qualified home affordable housing or mixed use affordable housing projects built on sites within the area. Do you have any questions?
But those are possibilities, not guarantees.
Correct, sir.
This is just a first step towards eligibility, correct?
Yes, sir.
And from this point forward, it would essentially be, the onus would be on the owner of the property to move forward.
Yeah, the only thing we have to do if you approve at first and second hearing is transmit to 2 different state agencies, and then it is on the owner of the property.
We've got Mr. Bingham on Zoom with us. Mr. Bingham, are you available?
I am, thank you.
He's the record agent for the owner on this property. You have any comments?
No, Jonathan actually did a great job explaining all the benefits. And again, once, if you guys do decide to approve this, then it's my ball to carry forward. I have retained 3 different lawyers that are experts in this field, and they'll assist me in actually doing the BISRA and getting all the paperwork forwarded. So this is just, again, as I said before, another tool in the toolbox.
Any questions or comments from the commission? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, we'll open the floor for public hearing. Is there anyone here for public hearing? I have you fill the card out for me at the end.
Florida. I have no objection to the brownfield designation on the legal descriptions as included in this resolution. But I have a question. As the project has apparently now included more property than was originally shown to be on the planning board meeting, which is why the planning board meeting is going to be tabled on this. Is that going to automatically include additional property in a legal description that doesn't show here? Is this the only thing that's in a brownfield, or is this going to be expanded to include the rest of the project that he's put in?
He'd have to notice what he has in place before anything else would take place.
Okay, so this brownfield is fine on what it is, and if he has to do it, if he has to add any more to it, then it'll be another.
You'd have additional notices that, public notices that would go out, be the 30-day notices, 2 additional notices that
Okay,
would go
great,
out.
because I have no objection to this. It is an industrial waste site. It is toxic. There was an environmental study done in 2003 by the Environmental Protection Agency of Florida on Florida furniture. So it is definitely, this does definitely, I think, would qualify for it, and it will need to be cleaned up. So kudos to the developer for looking into cleaning it up before he puts people on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here for public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, did my ears deceive me? Did Ms. Kitchens actually give kudos to a developer?
She did.
It's in the record, trust it. All right. Seeing no one else here for public hearing at this time, we'll close public hearing. Any further discussion from the commission? Questions called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. First step down. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, city manager and administrative reports, Mr. Holmes.
Couple of brief notes. This is an informational only comment. As you know, the Palakka Housing Authority has traditionally paid a payment to the city in lieu of taxes. That speaks for itself. They don't pay taxes, they pay payment in lieu of taxes. Last year, I believe that payment was $18,000. This year, they reduced it to $10,000. So their payment in lieu of taxes has gone down by about 40%. We have asked for an explanation. I don't think we've gotten a complete explanation as of yet, but I wanted to give the commission a heads up that contribution from them or assistance from them has gone down.
You tell them that everything
But
in the
isn't
world is
there-
going up.
Yes,
So,
But isn't, but pilot is a statutory calculation, correct? It is, there is a statutory formula.
There's an agreement, sir, that we have with the housing agency.
Right.
And in that, it includes the pilot payment. And in fact, the number of units that were included in that agreement is less than what they presently have.
And so,
And that's where the payment schedule was established.
so with the permission of the commission, either Commissioner Jones, who is the PHA liaison, or myself, can we go ahead and coordinate something with the manager and council to meet with PHA? I also want to have, I think there's an opportunity for us to have a joint meeting with PHA. We talked about it. Dr. Woods was okay with that, but I think it's time for us to have that meeting also so that since we're on that conversation, they're also moving forward with RAD. They ranked a developer for the RAD program. The last conversation I had with him last week, and this is news to me, is that he wanted to have the commission involved in the conversations as it related to where they were moving forward with RAD to make sure that there was some concert with the city. So with the commission's permission, we can seek to schedule a joint meeting with them as well. And just kind of let me know what your thoughts are as it relates to that.
Mayor, I know you made the suggestion that you or Commissioner Jones, but I think at this point, I think we need to just bring them before the commission.
Second.
Because I think the conversation, there may be some thoughts that we may have that we would want to have put out there as well. And I'm all for having that liaison, but I think at some given moment that we just need to bring them to the table so we all can have a conversation.
I agree with you. And I would like for them to come out and explain what that RAD program is for the entire community. So it may have to be like to the Price Martin, where we had a capacity.
Any other comments from the commission? Okay, we'll make it happen.
Then next, wanted to recognize one of our own, Ms. Shank. is going to be graduating soon with her master's degree, very soon. I think that all of you encourage all of our staff to continue to improve themselves through their education. And I think Ms. Shank's a good example of that. She'll have her master's in public administration. Is that correct?
Wow.
And you're walking when? What day?
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday. So wanted to give us a chance to recognize her for that achievement.
She can be a city manager.
Absolutely.
That was a sword.
It's gonna be a great weekend. So I walk on Saturday, Sunday is Mother's Day, and then Monday is my birthday.
Make sure you at work on, make sure you at work on.
That's
Monday.
a pretty nice move.
I have, my dad is actually coming in from Texas. And then my brother's flying in from Colorado. He just got back from deployment, so they'll both be here. Thanks.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Have nothing further.
You sure?
I will mention one more thing. I'm sorry.
So just so you know,
We almost have the ability to go home at a decent hour, so let's put that on the record.
he was just in a meeting early with the Blue Crab where he had 4 final questions.
It's not unusual for me. Want to mention that we had a pre-meeting with the fire union. We're about to get into union negotiations again. And so we'll be scheduling the first meeting with the union for the purpose of kind of seeing what their demands are, how far apart we are, then deciding how we're going to move forward with negotiations. That's all I have.
Anything else in your final comments?
Not yet.
Council?
No, sir.
Mr. McNair? Ms. Jones?
Just a couple of things. First of all, April 23rd, this year, no, 2 years for the city manager, being city manager here at the city of Palakka. We've had 3 in-house promotions here at the city. Ms. Pappas moved from accounting clerk to grant accountant. Ms. Fuller from HR coordinator to accounting clerk 2, and Christopher Gaylord from a refuse collector to the facilities labor position. We have 3 new hires that are coming on. Ms. LaTanya Thomas will be our new customer service representative. Mr. Leon Hubner, a mechanic trainee at the wastewater treatment plant, and Mr. Gabriel Johnson, an operator trainee at the wastewater treatment plant.
Where are we with the sanitation, not sanitation, I'm sorry.
Oh, PW?
Public Works person, where are we with that?
We still have interviews. We have 4 applications current, 2 in and 2 out. 2 in-house applicants and 2 outside sources, so we have to do the interviews. We're working.
Any other comments or questions? Mr. Griffith? Where are the votes now? Mr. Cutright?
Of course. 2 minutes, please.
Slight reflection.
Right.
I'm gonna fill out that yellow comment card. Now, I just want to bring a couple of things up. Next weekend, we're doing a farm share giveaway at Jenkins again, so we're actually asking for volunteers. It's not mandatory, but if you come out and help and support, we appreciate it. It'll be from 8 till when we run out of food. It's that Saturday, so we can. And actually, he's gonna bring a couple of Mother's Day gift baskets to give away too. So we'll give some of the staff or some, and then some of the people that come get the food. We're trying to do a quarterly food share with the a quarterly farm share joint venture, trying to make sure we keep everything going good at Jenkins in that area. And recreation, we're finishing up soccer, and it's going pretty well. And we're going into the promotion for baseball as we speak, and trying to do some creative things with that summer camp. Commissioner Jones came to us with a couple of ideas, so we're looking at funding them on those. And code enforcement, as you know, we're proceeding pretty good and about to get ready to go a little proactive on some areas that we literally need to hit. So other than that, that's it. That was less than 2 minutes.
And the food truck is for tomorrow, right?
Yes, Food Court Fridays tomorrow, and that'll be the last one we do at lunchtime, starting in May, it'll be an evening event.
Yes, on the farm share thing, whenever that goes out, I know it was suggested by a community member by getting the word out to people who don't have transportation, like some of the elderly people, getting food to those people who are also in need. So,
Okay, yeah, and what we did last time was we kind of transported some of that to some people that needed some help, and we're gonna do that this year if we can get some support from the fire department and hopefully the police department. One caveat to that is fire department, I want to apologize up front, and you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we're gonna reach out to those to meet them.
I know, because Commissioner Jones' brother mentioned that, so I just wanted to kind of put that out there so we can make sure we accommodate.
May I ask a
This is
question?
Ms. Hope.
Where are we with the system that for Jenkins that is supposed to be, what is it, the sprinkler system? Where are we with that?
Waiting on the governor we're waiting on the governor right now to sign the final budget so that the allocation of that, the funds will come in.
And the only reason I asked that question, I wanted to be on the record because of course, a lot of people have now started to ask, and more recent with some of the break-in or whatever, the vandalism, I think that is a tribute to not having any real activity going on over there. So.
And to add to that, we met with Safe Touch and a couple more security companies to try to put something out there to kind of give us a little heads up. But as you just said, until we occupy the building, it's not going to stop people from really trying to get in the building just sitting there. Yeah, and so that's not. And this is my final statement. The Blue Crab, we met yesterday with the Blue Crab, and everything's going on point. So having a successful program. Me and Chief Shaw was talking back there a few minutes ago, and we're thinking it's going to be probably one of the biggest ones we had in a long time. Because the young lady is doing a wonderful job, and she got some nice headliners, and everything is coming in place.
Good news.
Thank you, sir. Chief.
Before I get started, I just wanted to commend Eddie on his shirt on National Firefighters Day and recognition.
May 4th.
I provided a report for the Pastors and Police Alliance meeting we had, as notes from the meeting, just so you're aware of what occurred, what was discussed, and our plan to have the next meeting on the 16th, on May 16th. We will be having a meeting at 823 Hudson Avenue, and it will be at 6 p.m. I also provided you dates, time for Talking Tuesday, so that hopefully to help with attendance and Talking Tuesday, get you enthused. I know I've had a number of you asked about the next event, so I wanted to make sure you had that, the schedule of events and times and the location, so I provided that. And from the last Talking Tuesday, I provided you a spreadsheet of things that we got, requests we got from the citizens, issues that we heard, that was told to us, actions that was taken, that we've done thus far, and what was referred to the other agencies. We have begun going back and seeing and ensuring that some of the things were done. The time frame with a lot in a month, it gives us time to go ahead and make those corrections, reassure that they've been made and that the referral, if they've been referred to other agencies, get with them to see that they got it taken care of, and then get back in touch with those citizens to get feedback on what was done. So that's our reasoning for the month between Talking Tuesdays. We've done that. That's the list for you. And thank you again to Commissioner McCaskill for attending, helping out. She was a big hit.
Your quarterly meetings, how did that one go?
The quarterly meeting was rescheduled to next Tuesday. On the back, you'll see the flyer for it. We handed out flyers for it. We did not want to push. We felt that two things. One, we could not get the venue reserved in time. to get the information out to where we could make sure we had a successful event. So that's one of the reasons why we pushed it forward. We scheduled a new venue, and not only did we push it out on social media, send it out to Commissioner Campbell's request to get a hold of it so he can get it on social media as well. But we hand delivered flyers in the area to all the residents. Thank you, Commissioner Bourne, in reference to volunteering to assist. And I attached a flyer to your packet as well.
Yeah, I ran across my Palakka Police and Churches Against Violence shirt. Unfortunately, it still was the same size.
I'm not gonna argue with you on that. I'm gonna leave that in Eddie's shirt. I'm gonna put them both together. Since you mentioned that, I actually think it'll be a good idea for us to look at doing something similar for this group here. And we're gonna be meeting again. Captain Williams will be chairing that meeting because I won't be in town for that meeting. But I think that's something that is it's developed into a great program. Although in our Talking Tuesday, and it was a close to the first meeting, our Talking Tuesday, we only had Pastor Marbury at the meeting, but I have received conversation from some other chaplains since then and saying that they will be in attendance. And my hope is that the attendance and not only from the chaplains, but from a lot more of the community members, as well as citizens and employees attend as well.
Is there a way that with those Talking Tuesdays, of course, while we would love for citizens to all come out, a lot of citizens don't have the ability to come out for whatever reason. Is there an email address? Is there something that we can solely dedicate on our website, on just something additional outside of those Tuesdays that encourage? Because a lot of the stuff when I'm looking in here, so most of it is like anonymous. So do we have where people would be able to report that? How can they report that? Do we have a telephone number that they can call and give their ideas and remain anonymous in doing so? Like, what other steps can we take in order to make sure that there's a variety of ways for citizens to be able to be engaged in the Talking Tuesdays?
Well, a great question. And we began talking about it just from some of the information we received from the meeting is by establishing also on our quarterly zone meetings, being able to provide cards so that we can fill out different things so they can report to us. Captain Newcomb had some other ideas and I'll let him explain them.
In the Talking Tuesday meeting that we had last week, we've talked about, and I just have not had a chance to implement it yet with IT, but we are looking at doing a Talking Tuesday at palakka-fl.gov and posting that on our flyers so that if any citizen has something that they would like to send us, that we get it. We have several different at palakka-fl.gov emails for different city groups and stuff. So the idea behind that one was that comes to me and Captain Williams because we're team leading that program. And then we can add it to our list, address those issues with other city departments or whoever it needs to go to, and then respond back to that person. That was one of the ideas.
And in keeping in such to make sure that we are following what we set out to do, the report from each Talking Tuesday, like this one has been presented to you, will be presented to you on what we received and what action was taken.
Any questions, comments?
Chief, I would like to commend you on the pass-alongs. That has been good source of communication, at least to me and this commission, I believe, and it kept us informed. And I appreciate you doing that.
Thank you.
And I just want to commend you for all of the efforts you guys been doing. It's been excellent. I know you guys were doing some of that work prior to some of this, but thank you for sharing what y'all are doing to help advance the community. And you forgot one point today here. You've got a special guest that you might want to say. Don't forget that.
As you all know, my real boss walked in, as I was told. My real boss walked in support. I'm pretty sure it's time for dinner, and she wants to go to dinner. So I think she's happy that we might be getting out early enough to go to dinner.
Thank you.
Go ahead and leave now. We got heard.
Chief. Ms. Walsh. Ms. Shank. Ms. Krantz.
Nothing, sir. Thank you.
The time is now 7:20 in Alabama.
You forgot Mr. Yule?
I've already gone to Mr. McNair. So, anything else you want to tell me I missed?
I like the boots.
Since you volunteered, you're up first.
We have officially started accepting applications for the City of Palakka Youth Ambassador Program. It was presented at the last commission meeting. Thank you all. And it's out on the streets, and we were actually getting inquiries from other schools that are within the city that desire to have students. I know Mayor Hill and I went out to the Boys Ranch on Sunday, had an awesome time connecting with a lot of community organizations, and more specifically with the directors of the Boys Ranch. It's always a good time every time I go out, and just to see the young men that they have coming through and how respectable they are. We also look forward, and I told Sonny just prior to this meeting to extend an invitation to some of the guys that are out at the Boys Ranch to be a part of the program. The deadline is the 29th of May. 27th of May. And if anybody wants the application, feel free to contact Sonny.
It's also posted to the city's website.
Yeah, she created a Facebook page. I mean, not Facebook. Yeah, she created it. That's all, Mayor.
Commissioner Jones.
Go ahead. Now move.
I say thank you for my sister to come and support the city of Palakka and what's going on here. Bernice Johnson is my sister there. With me.
Mr. Moore.
Have nothing further, but I just want to thank the staff for the most excellent job they've been doing. We've doing quite a few things and just across the board. So I just want to thank the staff for what they're doing, and also the commission, the mayor for what we're doing to help advance the city. That's all I have.
You sure?
Sure, that's mine. Oh, no, I got something.
In closing, I'll say this. We've said it over and over again. There's a need for a public information officer in this city. With the things that are going on, we tell our story better than anybody else. And if we don't start to tell it, and Chief's in the back nodding his head, if we don't begin to tell our story, other people will tell it for us. In light of everything that's happened over the last few months, the reality is we're working, we're getting better, and it's continuing to improve. And I think people see efforts, and they see efforts that a lot of folks miss because we don't tell our story properly. So if we're not going to get a PIO, then we need to train somebody in-house to do public information from the standpoint that we are sending messaging out regularly. You just heard about 10 programs going on with the police department. We've got things from recreation to what goes on with this commission. And there should never be a comment that there's nothing to do in Palakka, because there's always something to do. But the reason most people don't get it is because we haven't maximized the approach. If you look at what's going on just with Facebook now with Blue Crab alone, there's something continuously out there. There are more people talking about Genuine and Little Texas than anything else in the world. But they should also be talking about Talking Tuesdays or the Mayor's Challenge or soccer or softball, what's going on at the airport, the fly-in, the hiring, all those different things. And we have an opportunity to reach the masses. And if we don't take advantage of it while the iron is hot, we're going to miss the boat. No pun intended, Mr. Griffin. So, but there's an opportunity for us to truly get more people engaged, because it's not just Facebook. It's Twitter, it's Instagram, it's personal contact, It's using all the other resources that we have in this community, and it allows us to not duplicate services. So let's strike now. Let's look at the opportunity for public information to be a vehicle. And I think every department would be willing to take a few dollars out of their budget so that we never find ourselves in a situation where somebody else walks in here and tries to tell us what we're doing. And so that's what this is all about, is the city taking control of its own narrative. And if we do that, then we can begin to tell about the successes in this community and about the citizens who are contributing on a whole different level. And there's no other time than now. And so that's my comments for tonight. And his last comments are?
We're paying Positively Putnam about 9,000. That could be another vehicle avenue, but yeah, again, that's a good point you made about a PIO. We would not have to be reaching out to other agencies to do that. So we're paying them about 9,000.
Positively Putnam is an opportunity, but what I'm saying is having a resource in-house that allows us to be able to do it on a regular basis, even when it comes to creation of flyers and promotions and all this other stuff. The police shouldn't be pushing their own information from the standpoint of having to create the flyer, having to do the other stuff. We should be able to reach 50,000 people by punching a button.
We'll create a job description this week.
Only if the commission wants it.
Well,
It's only I want to get out of here before 8:30. So it's only really reiterating what has already been stated, because again, nothing against what has been put out, but then again, you have people who specialize in those type of things, which would alleviate whoever is doing it now to be able to do more of what they're supposed to do with regards to their specific job. So it's only going to be for the benefit of the city and our respective departments.
And I think it's already been created. It has, if you check the system, it's been created. It was there a while back. It was created when Shanahan was here, and they had actually started interviewing. And so it may be a template in there already for us to look at. And I think it's just a matter of sitting down and trying to figure out where we are. We're getting ready to go into budgeting anyway.
Yeah,
It's the perfect time to have that conversation.
I said we'll create
to do
something
it.
this week.
Yep. So that's where we are. I'm excited about everything that's going on. I appreciate all my department heads for the work that you're doing right now. All the staff, city manager, and this commission. At the end of the day, we could have fell apart, but I think more than anything else, we came together. And so your character's tested by what you do in crisis. And so we're resolute. And so we're not timid. And so we continue to move forward. And so the Gem of the St. Johns River continues to shine. And I'm excited about what the future brings. It's festival time. So bring on genuine